Well, it's a fresh year, 2024. Happy New Year, everyone. Well, we do have a Monday market report for the week ending December 31st, 2023. Allow me to explain. It's the final day of the year. Great Collections actually had a full featured auction end on the very last day of the year. So we're going to talk about some of these coins that ended up selling. Maybe, a little bit of information that you guys need to know about some of these as we kick off a brand new year, new perspectives, and the hobby hopefully continuing on its strength. All right, so exciting stuff to talk about today. Some surprising inclusions, considering that it is, we are kind of like beyond the holiday period at this point. I was more than surprised that a few of the coins that ended up selling were on the list here this week. Generally these auction houses reserve their biggest coins for anytime after the holidays. So as we know, we have the first major coin show happening here this coming weekend in the Florida United Numismatist Show, which is going to be taking place in Florida, Orlando, specifically, and it's one of the biggest shows of the year. The actual busyness of the show will dictate probably how the whole month is going to go, and there's a lot of shows, ladies and gentlemen, to be on the lookout for all across the nation outside of just the Florida Fun Show. So I saw the show schedule and it's jam-packed. So yeah, get ready for it. So we're going to take a look at all of the realized sales from the last 7 days from Great Collections. We normally cover the post-1900, what I call quote-unquote modern era of U.S. coinage to have sold here in the last 7 days. And no big surprise. We have registry set coins. It's always going to be a hot topic. Some of the most irrational sales all occur within the registry set crowd. So, you're not going to want to miss this one. It's pretty crazy. And then, of course, we have just some of the run-of-the-mill investor greed, some of the more highly pursued coins that a lot of collectors and investors gun for as well. That's all going to be talked about here. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in. We have quite the stacked crowd of 23 total listings, and we're going to kick things off here. As we normally do, we start out with the 1 cent denomination coins, and then we ascend to the larger denoms. So here we are, 1957 Lincoln Wheat Cent. This one has been on the list a few times. It is one of the coins that is more readily available in Mid-State 67, and that's generally the grade you want for a 1957. Don't accept anything less than that because there's pretty much no safety net. It's Mid-State 67 red or bust. As with most of these modern era coins, if you were going to somehow contribute to the registry set market as a whole. By and large, I've tried it. It's a really difficult thing to do. You're going to end up spending a lot of money just through the grading submission fees. So if you guys think about it and you think you want to do it, you got to make sure your grading game's high and tight because PCGS and NGC, and throw in CAC-G in there as well, they don't play around. They're looking for discerning quality that is expected for its clients. So this one right here is a coin that ended up selling for $2,418.75. Still a very, very healthy price on this coin. And anything Philadelphia minted during the 50s are all quite tough due to the lack of quality control for this decade. And it's something that I don't foresee changing anytime soon. So definitely something to keep an eye out for heading into the new year. Same with this one here, although this one is adorned by a Denver Mint. The quality looks above and beyond much better than the 57 we just looked at. This one looks a little bit cleaner. It's got more of the satiny surfaces, which kind of presents a little bit better. But that is the Denver Mint. And that's kind of like the quality that we do expect from that particular mint facility. So we have yet again another Mint State 67 red grade. That's kind of the level. That's that line drawn in the sand, folks, that you need to be at on these Lincoln cents in order to have any sort of chance of making a good amount of profit on these. So this one right here, no doubt, is just a beauty. Nice full red example. And it's sold for $1,000.12. So as you can tell, based off of the hammer price on this coin specifically, that Denver Mint 50s are all going to be relatively much better looking than the Philadelphia coins that exist for the same decade. We also have this 1948. Now, let's not mistake the quality here from the 40s and 50s. Philadelphia minted 40s are generally much more better struck. They just look better. So, being able to obtain the much higher grades is going to come a little bit easier than the 1950s. This one right here is an old NGC fatty Mint State 67 red. And it looks good for a registry set. That's exactly the coin that they want, and that's what they deserve. And again, they have the deepest pockets, as evidenced by this one that sold for $1,800. I believe Mint State 67 plus or 68 is the high grade for a 48. So this one is a tier below those ones, and but still a much needed commodity for those particular registries. This one right here, I guess you can make the argument that it's kind of flexible. It could be pursued by Lincoln Cent variety enthusiasts. It could be an investor piece. But what I can tell you, it's quite scarce, especially in higher grades. This is the 1928 large S variety Lincoln. All right, so this is a cherry picker's guide variety. It's a variety that tends to fall through the cracks with a lot of collectors and searchers, especially those that are out there pursuing or cherry picking at a local show or coin shop. This one, FS501, is the FS number, the Favaz Stanton number, attributed namely through the cherry picker's guide. And it graded out PCGS Mint State 64 red. Yes, that's a 64 red example. 1920s Lincolns are generally not that good looking, and the quality suffers greatly because of the time period in which these were produced. You can't simply compare this to a comparable Mint State 64, from maybe 50 or 70 years later. This one right here sold for $1,744.88. 1919'S. Okay, our first CAC-G graded coin on the list. And this one just so happens to be a nice early teens date that earned itself a Mint State 66 red-brown designation. And as you can see, the reverse is more brown than most of the other parts of the coin. CAC-G is a company that is on the come up, and they are threatening the big two, PCGS and NGC, into kind of falling in line with a much stricter, I guess, grading style. The standards has to be there. And they have, ladies and gentlemen, arrived. And because of that, a lot of CAC-G graded coins up to this point have been selling well above market. In certain occasions, they've been selling a lot more than what a comparable PCGS graded coin would go for. So this one right here sold for $2,369.25. I would just say keep an eye out on CAC-G graded coins in 2024. They are going to make a lot of power moves. And I'm gonna say, and it's not really a bold statement because we're already seeing it, they are going to threaten the top spot of the grading industry. It's just going to be a matter of time. All right, it's not going to be a matter of if; it's going to be when that's going to occur. So, if you're already into CAC-G and you have a few examples, keep in mind that those early adopted pieces from 2023 are going to be incredibly desired in the long run. And yeah, believe it or not, this is not the last Lincoln cent. We actually have one more after this. So up to this point, we've seen some rather pedestrian coins. Pedestrian in a sense that we haven't seen like a $4,000 coin. We haven't seen one that's 10,000, you know. And we're going to continue that with this 1914D, which is a key date for the series. Now, this right here is a very well represented investor and collector coin in AU55 Brown. All right. It doesn't need to be mint state for it to be this high clout kind of key date for the Lincoln Cent series. It's also CAC certified as well. We're all very familiar with them. NGC graded. And this one, ladies and gentlemen, sold for $1,868.62. And then Blammo. Just when you think just the pedestrian prices, you know, kind of all fall in line here because we were in the middle of the holidays, then something like this pops up. A 1910'S Lincoln Wheat cent, unlike anything else you've ever seen. It's got some really nice color on there. It's a super original coin. PCGS awarded this one what I thought was an incredible grade as 67 plus full red, and that's even with the toning. CAC certified. And just like that, all the innocence is lost in this report because this one sold for $73,135.12. So, yeah, I guess it really doesn't matter what time of the year these coins sell. They're just going to sell. And there's not going to be a holiday in the world. There's not going to be that kind of obstacle that'll get in the way from a one of these high power collectors or investors that's going to shell out the big bucks for coins like this. All right, so with that being said, all of that nonsense that we just looked at, now we have to go to nickels, right? And you're like, oh, okay, well, things are going to get kind of relaxed a little bit. Wrong. They don't. It all starts with this 1961 Jefferson nickel, which, I mean, come on. Red alert here, guys. This coin, if you found one at a coin shop, they're probably asking $5 to $10 for it out of package. The actual proof set that this comes from will end up setting you back around $35 to $40, and that's with all the coins in there. So you want to kind of have your focal lenses operating in your head because you're going to be looking for some deep cameo coins like this one. 1961 proof is a very common proof date and very affordable if you saw one like in an album at a dealer or somewhere like that. So this one is a 69 deep cameo. My goodness, this is a just a powerhouse of a coin. And believe it or not, you know, again, this $5, $10 coin that we're staring at here actually ended up selling for $4,781.25. All because of the grade. It's a deep cameo, which is something you don't see that often on this particular date, among a few other things. It's just overall one of the cleanest proof nickels I have seen in recent memory. We also have this 42S. Everybody loves them. Sells some wartime silver love here. NGC gave this one a mid-state 67 plus with 5 FS, so it has 5 defined full steps. It looks like that too. These things are very well struck all across the board, every mint. And ladies and gentlemen, this one sold for $1,041.75. Now we're on to Buffaloes, and wow, I saw this one, and I thought about throwing in a few bids, and it never quite got to where it was manageable for me, because it kind of ran away a little bit here. It got really carried away. So this is a D over S variety. Okay, it's one of the more recognized over mint marks, you know, from this era, and yeah, not particularly rare. You could cherry pick one of these if you wanted to, but check out the toning on this coin. It's anybody's guess where this thing was stored at over its past 80 plus years, but I'm going to say that this one, this one, developed the skin under just the right circumstances. So NGC graded this one to mid-state 67 plus. I mean, doesn't really matter. It's all about just the original toning on this one. $1,152. All right, so not the highest grade. These things are known to go up to like 68 plus. I mean, they do get carried away in more ways than one, but with the toning here, this is just an extraordinary coin at this level. Here's also a 37D. I mean, not too fancy of a date, but it is a high-grade specimen. PCGS Mid-State 67 Plus, CAC certified. This is all good stuff here. $2,280.38 was the final hammer. Keep in mind, these obsolete type coins that, you can approach very easily, at a low budget, can end up being a huge windfall if you choose the correct one. That is just a little bit more cleaner than all the others. And we also have a regular 37 Philly. I mean, we're talking about really common dates here, folks. This one, NGC, had tabbed as a mid-state 68. All right, so that's phenomenal. And it sold for $3,825. So 68 grades in any of these Buffalo nickels, that is serious business. And 31S. Again, all innocence is lost. By the time we hit that one coin that just kind of really shakes the nerves of the market, here is yet again another one with the toning. It's a 67 grade, PCGS. I mean, you really throw all of these intangibles into one bucket, and you have a really, really awesome bucket that's gilded in gold and platinum and diamonds and everything like that. This one sold for $15,750. And keep in mind, 31S, they only made an S Mint 31. There is no Philly or Denver. It's the second lowest mintage of the entire Buffalo Nickel series. This coin, I'd love to say it's underrated, but at the highest level, I think that secret's out. And we also have a 27. It's a Philly, another Philly coin, all right? Mid-state 67 through PCGS. It's got that CAC green bean as well. And just take a look at how lustrous this coin is. It's beautiful. The strike is not that good. I mean, you can look at the Indian on the obverse of the coin. You could just totally tell that that's not the case. This one sold for $4,196.25. And we also have this 1920D. Okay, not too shabby. Another good one here. Much tougher dates. So 65 and up. That's kind of like that marker you want to be at. This one is a 66. Beautiful grade, very muted luster, and that's okay. It's just very, very nice. And this one sold for $15,300. I'm gyrating right now because the prices on some of the coins that we think don't really kind of like set the world on fire from a grading perspective has a lot of rarity behind it because of that grade. All right, we do have a few dimes. How about one with loads of color on both sides? And it's just a 1944. All right, it's one of the more common dates. NGC gave it a 68 grade with full bands. I mean, this thing is just sharp and very colorful, very vivid. And I'm happy to say that this one brought in $3,488.62. Not to be outdone, we also have the 36D that you see here, just totally blast white. It's kind of like a tale of two stories. You have the toners, which, it's very subjective. Some people love them, some people hate them. And you have the blast white, and I would say a vast majority of folks love the look of a coin that came out of a roll yesterday or was just minted yesterday. There's a bunch of different kind of analogies you could use here. 67 plus, full bands, CAC certified, PCGS Gold Shield, and this one sold for $1,241.52. 31S. This is actually a very closet key date. All right. I'm going to say closet key date very loosely because it's not really a key date, but it is a little bit more scarce than some of the other dates around it. Kind of similar to what a 21 could be, but just double the mintage, you know. So it's always good to see a very well struck, well preserved example. This one even has some of that kind of that toned skin that you see develop after a little while. PCGS, a little bit older, graded example as a 66 full band, CAC certified. Again, the CAC has been instrumental in bolstering the market here in the last 60 to 90 days. And this one ended at $8,493.75. Another big coin on the list. All right, so we have a number of quarters and a $0.50 to kind of wrap things up here for the first Monday market report of the year. We have a 53 proof Washington quarter. You name it, it's got deep cameo, but even more than that, this is a really, really nice doubled die obverse. It's the FS101. It's highlighted by some nice doubling. You could see Washington's ear is doubled along with some of the hair details. This is a good one. I've searched long and hard for this and have never found one, but here's one in the flesh with that deep cameo contrast. Proof 68, DCAM, and $2,992.50 later, and this one's going to a high-end home. Standing Liberty quarters also having an impact here this week. How about a Type 1 obverse or Type 1 quarter? Because the part of the Type 1 means that on the reverse, it doesn't have the 3 stars under the eagle. So you also have the figure of Lady Liberty without the chainmail. It's got, a couple different other things on there. The date is set a lot higher, so it wears quicker. This one right here is a Mid-State 67 full head. It's got a very well-struck design, and $4,245.75 was your final price on this. Yeah, again, a tale of two stories here. We have a 1916, and it's not the greatest looking example, but this is kind of a lesson in, just looking at every single coin. All right. This is one that has gone unchecked for many years in scrap silver. This one could have been a casualty to the melting time period of the recession. All right. That's just an earshot of like 13, 14 years ago. This coin could have been toast. An original 1916. Sure, it doesn't have a full readable date, but there are certain things to look for that a 17 Type 1 does not have. It's got different drapery. It's got that little hair curl that's curled upwards. The bottom of the drapery right by Lady Liberty's foot is a little bit flatter. Those are just a few things. The rivets on the shield are a little bit different. If you use their eagle eye, and it doesn't matter the grade, this one is a poor, fair details coin with scratches on the obverse. But still, with all that being said, how about $1,968.75? This is an incredibly low mintage coin and a key date, one of the biggest of the 20th century. Same here with this one. A very, very hotly pursued coin in any grade. 1901S Barber Quarter. This one is a good details coin. It's showing cleaned, and it does look like that very harshly too. This is a rarity. When you can't afford the best, this is kind of like that concession, right? This is the alternative you're left with. So even in this grade, as a good details clean, $3,881.25 was your final sale price. And you're probably shaking your head like, yeah, well, why is that almost $4,000? It's the date, guys. And then finally, after all of that rigmarole, we're going to end things off here on a 1973 candy $0.50. A little word of caution. 70s Kennedys, for whatever reason, are popping off here recently. And that's showing you a couple things. Kennedy half dollars actually has quite a crowd behind it. And number two, people really do care about the grading of these large coins, where they're generally bullseyes for contact marks and various other things. So I was more than a little shocked that this one ended up on the list. NGC graded this one as a 67 plus. I mean, it looks good. I mean, it's a very, very clean coin. The price, though, $4,893.75. I would say the Kennedy market is quite strong right now. So, yeah, pretty nuts. Anyways, that's going to go ahead and wrap things up. You know the drill. Videos for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Please do collect and grade responsibly. Happy New Year to everyone. Hope you had a great time. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Like, share, subscribe. If you haven't done so already to my channel, come check me out on TikTok, Facebook, and all that great stuff. I'm not on OnlyFans or Tinder yet, so, that might come in the future. Well, that's it, guys. You guys take care. Have a great week. And stay healthy, happy, and friendly. Like we always do, right? Because it's such a great hobby. I'll see you guys next time, and enjoy the hobby.